Please join me with the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Holy Father, we are humbled before you. We give you the praise, honor, and the glory. Lord, we're asking that your peace overshadow each and every one of us in this room. And even as we go out, Lord, may we share and show your peace. Lord, we thank you. We're asking that you will enable each council member to make good decisions based on your encouragement. Lord, we thank you for all that you do for us. But Lord, we know that you show up every day. That has been shown to me definitely this week. Lord, again, we just want to say thank you. And we're asking that you will continue to bless our town as a whole and the neighboring towns also. We ask these blessings and all others in Jesus' name. Amen. Please do the roll call.
Councilman Pagano?
Present.
Councilman Jilkes?
Present.
Councilwoman Walker?
Present.
Councilwoman Long?
Present.
Interim Mayor Kathy Washington?
Present.
Town Attorney Duffy?
Present.
Council, can I get approval of the minutes, first starting with our January 22nd, 2025, July 22, 2025, special call town council meeting minutes?
I have some corrections on July 22nd.
Okay,
Pretty much it's, my name's spelled wrong, so I do. Yeah, it's spelled wrong. I think, I don't know, I was gonna make corrections, but you want me to go through everyone as well? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
very good. And, the, millage is M-I-L-L-A-G-E. It's written as mileage in, several places. I don't want anything to be confused. We're not talking about mileage, we're talking about millage. So that's what I have.
I'll make a motion to approve July 22nd, 2025 special called town council meeting with changes from Councilman Pagano.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll go to July 9th, 2025, regular town council meeting minutes.
Again, I have a correction. My name is spelled wrong. I'll point out where it is. That would be the only thing.
I make a motion to accept the July 9, 2025 regular town council meeting minutes as amended by Councilman Pagano.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have approval of the current agenda?
So I have a correction. Sorry, but my name is spelled wrong on the agenda. With the report? Yes, I think that's the only place that name occurs.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda, August 7th, 2025 meeting with the changes with Mr. Pagano's name.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So can I interrupt just for a second? I have a question on the, it's not a change in agenda, but when will we be, have the second reading for the industrial zoning change?
September.
In September? Thank you.
They've been notified.
Okay.
All right, moving to, do we have any public comment? We don't have announcements, presentations, or proclamations, so we will go straight to number 9, non-consent business items with our audit summary of 22-23 from James Moore.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. My name is Chris Noyce. I am a senior manager with James Moore, and I'm filling in for Brendan Kittrick, who is the director on this particular engagement. I want to thank you very much for giving me the chance to present just an overview of the audit for the year ended, again, September 30th, 2023 here. Obviously, we were late on this audit, so it's very important to, of course, emphasize that. And I know there are efforts being made to try to complete the next one sooner. The audit was issued June 30th, 2025, and we're talking about September 30th, 2023 here. So that is definitely a significant difference in timing between when the audit was finally completed and the issuance date. Again, a lot of turnover in the town during this period of time. I know that there are a lot of struggles with that, so we certainly understand that part of things. The good news is, obviously, it is done. It is been issued, and now we can hopefully turn our attention to the next one and get that one issued quickly as well. So, as far as the audit report goes, our report on the audit is on pages 1 through 3, and we gave you what we consider to be the best opinion we can give you, which is called unmodified opinion. So I just want to congratulate the town for that. Despite the issues with the timeliness, based on our audit procedures, we didn't find anything that wasn't corrected that would be material. So therefore, the numbers that you see them here are materially correct based on the audit procedures that we perform. So that's a very good thing there. Our report, internal control and compliance, that's in the back. It's pages 34 to 38. Here we detail, some of the issues we found as we were doing our audit. Issues with what we call certain internal controls, things that the town, checks and balances, segregation of duties, things, approvals, that kind of thing that, we wanted to bring to your attention, and hopefully, they can be corrected going forward. So we have, different people looking at different things, so not the same person doing all different procedures. So you don't want to have that, because there's a chance that something goes wrong, no one's going to be able to catch that mistake. So if you have more people looking at things and approving things, it's also important as auditors that we have a trail, so we can actually see that these steps are being done. So, it's okay, if I approved it, well, we need to see that there's an approval or a signature or initials or something with a date on when you approved it too. That's also very important, that things are being approved timely, not too late after the fact. So if something did happen or something was an issue, you could try to correct it in a timely manner. So we kind of go through some of these here, some of the issues there. I'm not going to go through them in too much detail, but of course I'm open anytime you have any questions on any of them, please kind of let me know. I'm happy to go into more detail on any of those that we have listed here. There's two different types of control deficiencies, we call them. One's a material weakness, so this is a little bit more serious. Something that's material that could impact the readers of the statements and the numbers could get past y'all. The significant deficiency is a lower degree. It's not as extreme. So these things are not quite as bad, but certainly things you kind of want to look out for. Of course, nowadays with everything being computers and IT, you definitely want to take a look at that area. I know you guys have done that already, just to make sure that nothing can go wrong there, since there's a lot of sensitive information that certainly you don't want to have out there, and you want to keep your systems secure. So something there I know you guys are working on that. Board Auditor General requires a report, and that's on pages 37 to 39. One of the things that we do have to look at there is what's called the financial condition assessment. This basically looks at trends over time. Unfortunately, because of the different trends we were looking at, the condition assessment was unfavorable. So we of course recommend the town would look at the revenues and expenditures. Obviously try to find ways to increase your revenues and reduce expenditures if possible to try and get that back to a favorable or at least a neutral position with regard to the trend of the town. And we can talk a little bit more about that when I get to the financial highlights section of the presentation. Again, just some required communications to you all as your auditor. Our responsibility is, of course, our audit report. Your responsibility are the actual financial statements. And so we audit what you provide us, the numbers you give to us and so forth. And we give our opinion based on our audit procedures. So just kind of give an idea of who's responsible for what on that side. We are required to communicate what's called significant risks. We did this at the planning stage of the audit, and we also have to do that again at the end of the audit. And basically we have some of these risks are, all towns have these same types of risks. So you obviously have an override of internal controls. Someone from management could go outside the way the procedures are set and get something done outside those procedures, and that's an issue certainly. Improper revenue recognition due to error or fraud, that's true with every town, every city has that issue. And then we, of course, have if you have grants or you have things that have restrictions to them, there's a possibility that you can spend the funds that are not in accordance with those restrictions. So those three are very typical of many cities and towns across the state of Florida. Nothing unusual with those significant risks. Obviously, we change our audit procedures, tune our audit procedures, so to speak, to address those risks. So that's what we just have to make sure we communicate those to you. Sensitive estimates, certain estimates in the financial statements the user might consider, especially sensitive. One of these things, of course, is the useful lives of your capital assets. So how long is the equipment going to last? That kind of thing. So that's kind of sensitive. And of course, you have a receivable based on your utility collections, utility billings, and so forth. So that receivable, is it all collectible? There's like an allowance, we call allowance for doubtful accounts, a portion that you may not be able to collect. So that's kind of an estimate we have to come up with on financial statement disclosures. Again, we have our restricted assets. So these are assets that only be spent on certain specific things. We have this Better Place this year that is $247,000 related to that. And of course, we have $2,000 related to your debt. So you do have debt, and there's some debt service that you have to keep some funds for that set aside. And there's $177,000 that's related to utility expansion. So that's again kind of a restricted asset, we call that. And of course, the other important financial statement disclosure is the debt note. It details all the different types of debt the town has, what the principal payments are due on those, and what the future looks like as far as paying those down. So that's important too, and that's a note. Difficulties in performing the audit, we kind of already went over this. We had some difficulties getting information, and a lot of that is due to a lot of turnover that the town experienced during the time that we were doing the audit. So, once we did get the information, we were able to get the audit done as quickly as we could. So we tried to do our best on that, and we were able to get it done by June 30th. So we did our best on that. There were no disagreements with management. So it's good to report that. And we had several audit adjustments, and the town has made those adjustments to their books. So we're good on that front. Going through the financial highlights, revenues increased by $482,000, up to $2.2 billion for the year ended September 30th, 2023 now. Mainly that's due to grants and some contributions. Property taxes were also up. Expenses, $2 million. That was actually an increase of $200,000, and that's mainly due to utilities and general government type expenditures. A lot of different utility work going on, so a lot of that is part of that $200,000. Your net position was like your balance sheet. So you have, your investment in capital assets. That's about $1 million. You have that restriction I talked about, Better Place. And then you have funds that are called unrestricted, so you can spend them on anything the town deems necessary, and that balance is $762,000. So increase overall about $48,000 from last year in your net position. You have your business type activities, that's your utility fund. So that was about increase of $103,000. Again, about $5.67 million or so is what the balance of that fund is. A lot of that is invested in your capital assets, your infrastructure for your utilities, so $4 million for that. There is some restricted funds there related to debt service, as I mentioned before, and of course you have utility improvements that you're doing. So $179,000 restricted towards that. And then you have your unrestricted, which can be used for other utility type projects, and that's about $1.5 million. So on the general fund side, that's your general fund is your main operating fund, and you have about $726,000 that's considered unassigned. That's about 57% of your current expenditures. You want to try and, if the town wants to have a good reserve there, you kind of want to see that balance grow to cover, more than 57% of current expenditures. You'd like to have at least maybe 12 months worth or a year's worth of current expenditures. And there's a large amount was due to capital outlays, $330,000 related to police equipment and other things that the town deemed necessary to purchase for longer term use. And that is all I have for you as far as going through the statements on our very high level overview. I know that we have provided, James Moore has provided the engagement letter to, try and help you all, be your auditors for the 2024 engagement, and I'm sure you'll discuss that and decide if that's something you want to do, and we're certainly happy to continue having this relationship with you all if you deem that satisfactory. And so any other questions, like I said, we're here for you. Just reach out and let us know. We're happy to answer them.
Councilor Briggs, any questions? Mr. Noyes?
I think the question that I have is that as a town, we have to have a balanced budget for the state. And without that balanced budget, we have to go back now and approve these expenditures. So with that being said, when I look at how you're classifying these expenditures, I'm trying to cross-reference to the budget because we as a town, we need to know exactly what general ledgers this overage is coming from, so that moving forward, we know that we need to allocate more money in particular areas. And I'm not comfortable approving a budget not knowing where over $200,000 of expenses went through the end of 2023. So is that something that you can provide for us?
Yes, we can definitely do that. We obviously use the general ledger accounts and map them to where we believe the budget amounts are. As far as items that are over budget, the big ones were the general government fund, general government expenses, and of course you have your capital outlay. And you know, that's of course $330,000 related to a lot of equipment. So you easily see what makes up that $330,000.
Exactly, but was it salary, was it repairs and maintenance,
outlay
was
would
it?
be actual equipment purchases, actual construction, actual things that have been bought. That's your capital outlay. There wouldn't be any.
Oh, no, I'm talking on the, but,
The
so you're
general
saying all of
government,
that?
Yes, the
Yes.
general government would include
Yes,
those
that's
types
what
of things, exactly.
yes, so that's what
Yes,
I'm
that's
referring to.
correct. Yes, you're right. Yeah, we can definitely provide that for you, not a problem at all. And I guess part of the issue there is just obviously being able to have the staff to keep track of the budget versus actual throughout the year. So if there is something going on, you can have a budget amendment, to make sure that you fluctuate, your budget matches the
And we
actuals
should be
where you
able
need
to, so if BSNA is used properly, the minute that we approve this budget, you will then make sure that every general ledger has the allocation of what's coming off of our budget. And as you're entering throughout the year, so quarterly, they should be able to, monthly, they should be able to print a report and say, here's where we're at versus, the budget to actual.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, one of the issues in the past was just that things were being entered very late when it comes
Correct.
to the, transactions.
And that's something that I can say all of us are on the same page with, using the technology that we have. It's just unfortunately right now, we're trying to get the right person in the position and we're really struggling at that, but.
Well, you're not alone. Good help is hard to find in the
Yes,
finance
sir.
department, so I hear you. Yes.
Any other questions?
All this data is for fiscal year 2022 to 2023.
That's correct, yes, yes, sir.
Later in the evening, you're going to propose a proposal for doing the audit for last year.
That's correct.
2023
You're
to
into
2024.
Correct.
Do we have the data necessary? I can hold this off the conversation for when that comes up, but it's going along with what Councilwoman Long is suggesting. We can base all our budget on information from 2023, but we had expenses that went beyond our revenues. So it's the same thing that happened in 2024. So do we have that information, and when can we have it in a format that we can use to help make our decisions for this coming fiscal year?
I know you have an outside firm that you are using to help you out with this. They have provided me with some schedules, kind of showing me how they're putting the data and getting the data into a format that we can actually audit. Because that's one of the issues that we were wary about this year, because of the issues with the systems. Being on one system for part of the year and on a system for another part of the year. How is this going to work for our audit? And what they've given me is, I'm very hopeful with what they've given me, that we have the data, that we'll be able to, provide that to you, shortly. I know they're very close to being done with that, and that you will be able to rely on that data, since it is based on reconciliations to your bank statements, to the actual transactions that are being done, that we can verify and kind of confirm. So I'm hopeful on that. I've had conversations with them, and the product looks like it's definitely something we can work with. You know, it's a matter of timing as far as you all being able to get that information and then, you know, do what you need to do with it, try and get the budget where you want it to be based on real numbers, good numbers, so.
We wouldn't have to wait for the audit to be complete.
Oh, no.
Correct? We would have the data.
Of course.
We just
Yes.
need to wait till the data is completely entered.
Yes.
And then we can see balance sheets.
Yes,
in order
correct.
to use that
Absolutely.
data.
Yes, you're right.
So,
Yes.
are we in any, do you know, Madam Mayor, how close we are to that?
We are working very, very
Yes, I know that you are.
We have about 3 to 4 things on the books that consider themselves as number one,
Okay.
okay? The budget for our workshop will be better, easier to understand with Monday, okay?
Okay.
Is it printed in stone? No, because we're still working with it.
Okay.
We're trying to, if we approve for James Moore to do our audit 2024,
Mhm.
we're trying to get that done in the state's hand by the end of September. 'Cause
Okay.
if not, we start losing money.
Right.
We have an issue where when we crossed over to BSNA cloud software, and I'm saying it for the record, not a good move. Information was not put in the system.
Right.
Okay, so on top of that, we're dealing with Doge, we're dealing with budget, we're dealing with audit. All I can tell you is one day at a time.
All right, so
We're all working.
okay, I know our millage rate has to be in by September 30th.
Yeah.
What is the deadline for our budget?
We gotta have our budget done.
By
in
the end
September.
of the year?
Yes,
But the budget can be amended,
yes,
so we can use the best information that we have on September 29th to come up with a budget. And then when we get better information, we can revisit it.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we can.
I mean, you want to
Because
try to
if
make those amendments within
anything,
60 days of your year end.
Within, oh,
Yes,
okay, sure.
so that's really the bottom line there. So, you know, if you can get them in within 60 days, you're all right. Anything after that is an issue.
And I'm pretty certain that we should definitely be there to revisit. But if anything, we may end up having another workshop by the end of this month.
Okay.
Because when September comes, that needs to be, this is what we're gonna do. And again, we can choose it.
Thank you.
So I have a dumb question.
No, there's no such thing.
Yes, some of mine tend to be. Granted, this is a snapshot from, a couple of years ago, a couple of fiscal years ago. And I see revenues, of 2.2, mainly due to grants, contributions, property taxes. When I see the word grants in the revenues, in expenses, I don't see potentially monies from those grants being spent.
Well, a lot of those,
Are those untouched monies, or?
well, there are certain, like we have certain funds called the ARPA funds, the American Rescue Act, that, you guys are spending that money.
Is your mic
So-
right now?
You'll have to just speak as loudly as you
Yeah, I'll
can.
speak loud, no problem at all. Yes, so some of those items are spent on what's called capital outlay. So they're like equipment, things like that. You have grants specifically to do those types of things. So that some of that's being spent on those items. So there's that. There's also some of the grants are related to, utility improvements and things of that nature too that you spend money on. So yeah, the money has been spent.
Okay.
It's it's part of the different governmental activities you see on page 12, and also see some of the business activities when you go to this page.
Yeah, because the reason for my question is I know we got grants last year or something that we haven't spent. I just want to make sure we're not including something as revenue
Yes.
when we can't,
Right.
spend it, because, there's not a whole lot of cushion there, in 2022, 23.
You'll see on page 13, you do have what's called the unearned revenue. So a lot of that is, things that, you've made the expenditures for, maybe not gotten reimbursed yet. So a lot of these grants are reimbursable grants. So, you're not getting the money necessarily up front in a lot of these. You got to spend the money and then put in a request to get the money from, be reimbursed for, so to speak. And of course, they're looking at that, make sure you're spending it on what you're supposed to be spending it on. So that's part of that approval process. So, you'll see like the, better place funds that are restricted, those are obviously things that, you're required to spend those monies on that program, in that particular fund. And, there are some certain things as far as the, utility fund that you have that, part of the utility expansion, that money is tied up in that, so for that purpose.
So those grants that Mr. Jelty is referring to, that's why our net position, we had an increase of 47,000, but yet our expenses overran our revenues by over, there's two numbers, 291,000, and then there's 230,000.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why the net position increased, because we did receive some grants,
Correct.
but we still overspent.
That is, that if you spent more than your revenues, that's correct.
Can you tell me the difference between that $291,000 figure that's in parentheses on the budget comparisons and the $230,000? Because we're using either one interchangeably about how much we overspent.
Well, there's two different types of overspending. One is overspending in relation to the budget, the other is just your revenues are lower than your expenditures. So there's two different types of kind of overspending, so to speak, so that's part of it. Go to the budget numbers. This is for the general fund, of course. These statements.
So basically, if we go to page 32,
Yes, 32, correct, that's right.
you're gonna show the revenue at the top and the expenditures. You had a $61,000, $459 of increased revenue.
That's correct, yep, exactly right. And then, of course, we had our total expenditures that exceeded our budget by about $292,000 approximately. So this is in relation to your budget. So, your budget was break-even budget. That's what you guys were planning for. That's what you guys were thinking was going to happen, and that's what you're budgeting against. And this is the actual number to show that yes, a lot of that again. Some of that's capital outlay, so those are things that are for future use. So you would capitalize those items. They would be depreciated over a lot longer period of time because they're equipment and things that you aren't using them in 1 year, and they're lasting you for more than that.
Right.
So I get that part. Certainly that I understand where you could possibly go over there, because here you're taking it all in 1 year when in reality you're spreading the costs out over time. But yeah, it's the general government one that's the eye opener. Certainly that was so much more than what you guys budgeted for. So, and there are many reasons for that. With regard to issues that came up with the utility system, having to repair them. It's not for this particular fund, but some part of that's to do with that, and then just just different other things that were going on with the salaries and so forth and things like that are being increased. But like I said, I'll get you the figures on that, like you asked, so that you can see kind of what line items specifically contributed to that overage of the budget on that side. So
Because realistically, that 291,000 is the true number. Had it not been for the revenue overage, it brought it down to the 230, but
correct.
But when you give us the numbers, we should be able to see $291,000 in line items of overages.
Yeah, and that's what you'll see. That's all linked together to this.
Yeah, I saw that the opposite way. The 291,000 was the difference between what we guessed we were going to spend by the budget and the net change in fund balance. 230,000 was what we actually, if we're watching our checking account balance drop. That's what the 230,000 is.
That's
Either number is too high.
Well, one again is your, the difference between the budget and your actuals, and this is actually a difference just between what you really collected and what you really spent. So what you really collected, what you really spent, that was a deficit of $230,000. But what you budgeted for, what you really spent, that's the other $290,000. $100,000. So you know, either way, you know, our revenues aren't keeping pace with our expenditures the way we want to. So in reality, and with regard to, you know, the actuals versus our budget. So obviously, we hoped for a balanced budget. We hoped that revenues would match. That's what we budgeted for. But you know, we were over in various areas. So
I think what we find is that we budget for a certain amount of ad valorem taxes, but in reality, we get much less. And that seems to hurt us, I think, here. What?
that's
Analysis
that
of it.
$46,000 that you're talking about there with the variance versus the budget on the taxes line on page 32.
Yeah, but not that, I think the taxes line on the budget comparison, that's all revenues from taxes that we've got.
That's correct.
But I'm talking about just the ad valorem taxes, like we're gonna estimate based on what the county's telling us our property values are and our millage rate, we're gonna collect $550,000, whereas in 2023, whereas we actually collected $434,000.
Right.
So, we're gonna be careful of that.
Yeah. I mean, the other items actually, you know, were over budget. for,
Right.
You know, other items. So, you know, that's those items were good. So. You're welcome.
We'll
Thank
probably
you.
ask you some more questions.
I'll be right here.
Okay, we have their, James Moore letter, for them doing the 23-24 audit. And it's the last page of that, where you will see their prices. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Knowles. One of the main reasons that they're going by the hourly rate due to our trend that they run into issues. So rather than say a flat fee to do our audit, they're gonna work with, hourly rates. And basically, I have copies of what they, basically charged in the last couple of years, but
At least.
it's the one, that's on the top.
Looking for those numbers. Packet. This here,
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that is, yeah.
Thank you.
this shows hours.
Yeah, these are staff. These are hours by level. That's what we were asked to provide for that piece. You all have the numbers for how much you pay. We can give you those numbers as well, but you have the numbers for what the costs of those audits were. You can see just it varies a lot, and it really is dependent upon, you know, what you can get us, when you can get us, and obviously when you run late, that causes issues for us because we're scrambling to find staff and so forth to do things quickly and get us all hands on deck to try and get this thing done as quickly as we possibly can. So we aren't always able to use the lowest rate staff that we want to because they're not available. We have to, maybe someone higher level is available, so it's like, well, plug them in, try and get this thing done. You know, we're hoping we don't have that problem this year because I've seen what Goldman Wolf has given us and it looks good. So, you know, it might come out to your advantage in this case. You know, it might be a lot lower because we may not need to have used as many man hours or women hours, people hours, you know, to get it done this year based on their work that they're doing. So certainly they are, you know, doing that, trying to do their best to, you know, get a product to us that's easy to audit, that won't take us as long to go through, and there won't be as much back and forth as far as questions are concerned and things like that, things that are just, you know, we have to make adjustments for all over the place because they're just not right. So they're taking care of those adjustments on their end now, so we won't have to deal with them when we do the audit as part of our procedures, so.
So do we have the actual dollars that we paid for the audit for the last year?
I don't have that right now.
You don't have that right now?
Did you say you wanna know how much it cost us with the 22, 23? That's what you're asking basically, right?
Right.
I don't have a number that
Just
right now.
so we get an estimate of what's gonna cost, because I think that's a number that should be in the budget as well. It's significant, I would imagine, it's
Yeah,
in tens of thousands.
I don't know if you would know a ballpark, probably not. Ballpark, and not really into it.
I believe it probably was in the neighborhood of $50,000. That's probably low, I'll be honest.
So when they look at these 2 pages here, fiscal year 22, is that what we just got done with? Or is it fiscal year 23?
So we just finished 23, so you have 3 years, 23, 22, and 21, the most recent 3 years, and the hours that it took by level to get this
Okay,
audit.
so in 23, we got a grand total of basically 292 man hours.
Correct, that
Okay.
is correct, exactly, yes.
So, Mr. Knowles, I know, we got the hours, but we didn't know, that wasn't with your letter unless I overlooked it, on price with the hours. Or is that something you will send?
Yeah, we can send that, the whole price for each of the years, that's fine, yeah. We thought you had that amount, sorry, yeah, sorry, our bad. So we can get that to you, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I can get that to the council. Okay. But
Well, we
we're
have to make a
seeing
decision.
basically, yeah, because we need to get them
Right.
on board.
So you don't know the hourly rate, so, at all?
Well, I know the hourly rate.
So that's all, at this point, that's
basically.
all I need to know. So if I take an estimate from the past years and take the worst case scenario times your hourly rate, that at least gives us a number moving forward for worst case scenario. So for us to be able to vote on something, we need to have at minimum worst case scenario of what we're looking at. So,
Yeah, I mean, you'll have to base, you want to base that off the prior years, you can do that,
which,
I
like you
don't know
said,
what the
hopefully
worst
it
case
won't take
scenario is
us
gonna
long.
be, because I thought last year was a difficult, very difficult year. And like I said, I'm hopeful this year is different, but based on the trend, I'm not comfortable completely saying that. They haven't finished yet. They've only shown me pieces of what they're doing. Are you gonna have the staff to be able to, are they gonna be able to do it? Or are you gonna need to have more staff to be able to help them to get through the procedures and the support and requests that we ask for? There's so many unknowns that's the reason why we feel uncomfortable with trying to give you a fixed fee for this.
No, you're not asking for a fixed fee, just more or less like, in other words, how much would you be charging us per hour?
And
That's-
obviously, there's rates for each of the staff levels, so I can get you the range for those. Of course, problem 2 is, again, are we gonna be able to leverage the right people to do it, or are we gonna be in the same situation we were last year, where we're having people that, are higher rates, but because they're free and available, we need to get this done as soon as possible, we're plugging them in. So that's, if I give you the rates, I don't necessarily know that the hours I'm gonna give you are gonna line up with those rates because of that. So it's very difficult, for me to, it's just hard to estimate, based on the past. So, we'll give you something and you can try, use your judgment as far as what you kind of think would be, that might be, the maximum amount. But, that's the reason why we've changed it to kind of go to hourly rates, because it's just too hard for us to figure out based on the past what it's gonna really look like. And, I believe I spoke to them about, until we see the final product, I can't give you a timeline. I can't say we're gonna be able to make September 30th until I see it, what they really give us, the full thing, not just the piece that I've seen that looks good. I need to see the whole thing.
Understand?
So, so that's another piece of all this, is that we've got to look at that first, and make sure that we're comfortable with it, and, we can really move forward with So there's a lot of unknowns here, you know, so that's why we're going down this road. And, you know, I'll get to the numbers for the past 3 years, this last year and the last 2, and you can kind of see and go from there as far as what you think the budget would look like for the audit.
So I can get more or less from the council and okay, number one, that we wanna use James Moore, auditing firm, to do our 23-24 audit. Gonna okay with that. Meanwhile, I can get how much it's cost the past several years.
Absolutely.
Get
Yes.
that to the council.
No problem. Yeah.
But right now, because everything is like, we need to be moving, and to wait another weeks, it is delayed. And we're trying to make sure that they're getting the full package, so talk to the council.
Well, we're kind of stuck here, because I don't think we have time to explore a new firm. I think that's something that we'll have to plan on doing 3-4 months from now, when we have the 2025 budget ready to go. But, yeah, we're kind of stuck here, okay? So I think we need to be ready to have the audit started tomorrow, if we have what we need ready tomorrow. So I think we're gonna have to blindly accept their proposal. I kind of got it took a year to get all the information that you needed for the 2023 audit.
Yeah.
And most of that information came in the last few weeks, few months, right? Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a discussion that we're gonna have later on tonight, but, this 291 hours compared to 2022 was 192 hours. It's a big difference, okay? So, and I have a confidence that the firm that we're using to help us get through this right now is going to make it easier for them to do the audit. So, you know, I'm comfortable, but reluctant, but comfortable saying to go ahead and ask James Moore to prepare our 2024, year-end 2024 budget. Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Okay, well, I move that we ask James Moore to prepare our 2024, year-end 2024 budget. Audit.
I'll second
Can I get each council member's, vote? It's on.
Councilman Jopez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Walker,
it. Yes.
Councilwoman Long,
Yes.
Councilman McDonough,
Yes.
and our Mayor Washington.
Yes,
Motion passes.
all right, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
But they're still gonna supply you with an estimate, an hourly number. I know that he says he doesn't know, but you're gonna have some kind of guideline, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You'll have the prior year guidelines. Yes, you will.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Thank you. I am being very optimistic that they will get their information and get it in a timely manner. I am working intelligently hard, but in my time. Okay? So, thank you so very much, Mr. Knowles.
Thank you.
We will move down to our discussion of the investigation. Okay, what I wanted to state, I kind of like highlighted about 4 different areas, and the investigational book basically was like 500 pages. What I want from the council tonight actually is a vote. Do we send this to the Committee of Ethics Committee? Do we send it? The individual I spoke to stated with doing that, in that letter, you have to be specific, not a whole 5 people, one person name with the letter. Okay? If they feel that, okay, we think we wanna send this forward for state investigation, then they will do that. However, if they feel that it's not, I would like to ask the council, are we done? If it goes forward, the state takes over, they get that 500 pages book. Then that's in the state's hand, investigation. But if the ethics committee say not warranted, because one of the things that was stated to me, you wanna make sure that the person you named in the letter was basically, how do I wanna say this? Doing for themselves and not for the town. And that's called, you gotta make sure you got the proof there, okay? That was very much emphasized, that that's what you gotta prove, that that person was out for themselves and not for our town.
So is it, we have to name just one person, or, if we felt that it was multiple people, just one?
Just a second. I know in my profession as a licensed engineer, I have a code of ethics that I have to follow. And the ethics violations can be due to negligence, they can be due to incompetence and misconduct. There's actually, those 3 things are listed. So, when you say that they did for themselves, okay.
Like it's a game for you.
Well,
not for the
I'm
town.
not necessarily sure that is, that's how far you have to go to have an ethics violation. If you are negligent in that you didn't follow the rules, knowingly didn't follow the rules, you had certain standards, our charter, accounting standards, what the state required. If you knowingly avoided those standards, then that's negligence. If you just didn't know what you were doing, if you, claimed that you knew finances and you really didn't, okay? So like if I'm an engineer and I said, yeah, I know how to design that tower, and I really don't, okay? That's incompetence. Now, if I knowingly did any of those things, that's misconduct, it's wrongdoing, you broke the law, knowingly broke the law, okay? So I'm not so sure, maybe Attorney Duffy can help us with this, is what bar do we have to reach for someone to have been unethical?
Madam Mayor, can I add on that?
Yes.
So I do have experience with this. So what you're talking about is the Florida Commission of Ethics. And on that, they have a purview that is very niche, Florida Statute 313. And what Madam Mayor was talking about is that a lot of times when people are reported to the Commission of Ethics, because they do self-interest dealings, right? For their own benefit, which as government service people, you're supposed to be the service of the free people, right? So if this council would like to send an ethics complaint to them, we would recommend that it's one person, because they do not accept council sending ethics complaints. You're supposed to have first-hand knowledge of it, so it can't be hearsay, it can't be I heard down the street, something like that. It has to be sworn on an affidavit. And so what a lot of times towns or cities will do is say, hey, we see violations that we want the ethics commission to look at. Once they get a complaint, they will have an investigator look at it and see that if it falls under their purview. If they think that the complaint is legally sufficient, what that means is that it's first-hand knowledge and it falls under their purview, they'll start their own investigation. If they think that it is not under their purview, they'll dismiss it saying it lacks legal sufficiency. I can add any more if you have any more questions about that.
So are you saying that if we submitted a letter saying we would like for you to look into this?
Yeah, you could
see if
say,
it's warranted along with the book?
yeah, you could say, hey, attach here's an investigation. We have I know Councilman said, talk about, competency, but you could say there are ethical violations here. Whatever this committee is, but we recommend it be one person, that you're signing under that you have firsthand knowledge of this. But there have been times before where I've seen it where, towns or cities have submitted stuff, and the commission did find stuff that was under their foot. And then there's been a lot of times they said, no, we can't do it.
So when you say one person, you mean one person on the council signs this, or is it one person that we're pointing the finger at?
It could be one person on this council, if you guys have firsthand knowledge of it. If you have not witnessed any of this stuff, then I would recommend that, no, that would not be you. If it's someone that, you could recommend to them, you can't make anyone, right? But that would be kind of our recommendation. It has to be someone that's been involved probably throughout the investigation, that's seen what's going on. Or what you suspect is what's going on.
So, the binder that we all looked at and, the documentation that we've seen in the binder from the audit, with the investigation, would that, could we just, like you said, give it to them and say, hey, if we give it to them and they say, hey, nothing was done, then we should be over it and move forward.
That's what council would like to take that direction.
I personally would say, hey, let's look into it. Let them look into it. If nothing was done, and they come back and say to us, hey, there's nothing here for us, then I feel that we should leave it alone and move forward.
There's one person per complaint, is that correct? Like, if we submit a complaint, and that gets a complaint, it has to be a complaint against one person.
That is correct, yes.
But we can send multiple complaints.
Yeah, if you have a variety of people that you think that need to be, you just fill it out, because the way it works is that you have just like an actual form, and then they'll ask you to submit supporting documents on top of that.
As far as who can violate ethics in town government, obviously, politician, elected official. What about an employee?
Yeah.
An employee can be guilty of an ethics violation. Okay. So, and as I see it, in that investigation, we had 3 players. Okay. We had a minor player. I guess we can use names. Use that, right? I can specifically talk about what was in that investigation. Well,
Public record.
okay. So, sit back a minute. We read that Kendra Quick. We had issues with Kendra Quick. She wasn't a very good employee, according to Ms. Allman's reviews. Pages after pages after pages of documenting that she was rude, that she was not cooperative, and that she didn't take orders very well. Those in itself are ethical violations. Those would be something that you would be terminated immediately. I mean, you're just not working out. However, Ms. Allman didn't want to do that because then she felt she would be overwhelmed with work if she was home. But the one thing we did learn in the investigation, and Ms. Quick did, was that she badmouthed a long-standing business in town with unsubstantiated allegations. That could be considered free speech. She can go out and talk about things all she wanted, but she did that, according to the witness statement, she did that holding herself out to be an employee of this town. And because she was an employee of this town, she had firsthand knowledge that all this was going on, which wasn't proven out in the investigation. So there's one ethics violation. I believe there's an ethics violation there. And we move on to Ms. Allman. This is where I was getting at as far as negligence and incompetence versus misconduct. Ms. Allman's resume was full of financial experience. She has a tax, what do you call it, tax preparation business. So you would think there would be certain things that Ms. Almond would understand about finances. We saw that she was being constantly informed that our audits were late. Our charter says that two things is required of the town clerk. One, as requested by the council, she's supposed to report our financial condition at that point in time. I don't know that we ever did ask for that, but it also says that at the end of each year, we should be given a financial report, and we didn't get that. Okay, that was it. We were constantly being asked for documentation to get this audit done, and we weren't getting that documentation, but we were getting a number of excuses. And I'm not talking about knowing this last October 29th. We were, according to the investigation, we were getting notifications from the state for months, years, that our audits were late. Okay, so I feel that Ms. Almond was negligent in her duties for the council, and she was incompetent. She held herself out to be a certain level of knowledge, but she was not competent to do the job that she was asked to do. So that moves us on to former Mayor Watts. Our charter says very little about what the mayor's duties are, but it gives you one big blanket, whatever the council assigns to the mayor is what the mayor does. Our mayor is assigned everything. Our mayor is, according to Resolution 2012, the employee handbook as you would have it, it's the mayor who decides disciplinary action, merit action, pay raises, termination. Okay, so all of those things that were happening in the office, that between Ms. Quick and the rest of the office people, that was under his purview, and he seemed to have just let it go. As far as overseeing Ms. Almond's job, okay, what we saw in the investigation was just excuses after excuses. Constantly, even the years prior, we would be getting a notice from the state that you're doing this wrong, and this wrong, and we would have the same accusations or information, and we were just given the same answers year after year after year. Okay, we were just ignoring it. There was actually, Ms. Megan let former Mayor Watts know that we're about to lose, and I think the state actually sent an email to that effect. You're about to lose $14,000 plus in 1 cent, half-cent sales tax revenues. And the supposed response was, well, don't worry about it. It's not that much money. Okay, so even further, okay, as far as misconduct goes, the investigation cast a wide net, and it brought up the inappropriate sexual relationship between Mr. Watts and an employee. A sexual relationship of any kind between a supervisor and a subordinate is misconduct. And we know what happened. We're reading the text messages, we can see. And it isn't a matter of consent. It's not a matter of, it was two consenting adults. Because there are other people in the office that are experiencing this and watching this. And you have to wonder, are they thinking, well, what if he tires of her and I'm next? What do I do? Because now I'm watching this person get fired. Apparently she was fired because she wasn't competent to do a job. So this relationship just happened to be with the most incompetent person in the office. I just don't get that. I'm gonna try to stay calm here because now I'm getting angry. Just thinking about how this happened. That alone is, an ethics violation. There were things that were not in the There was some dinners and drinks and whatnot, that they couldn't find any significant public purpose for those expenditures. The receipts that we saw didn't have a note on them, this is, I was, entertaining this person or that person. It was just, paid for my dinner and drinks. We know that there was a lobbyist hired, and we spent a lot of money on this lobbyist, and it appeared, because Ms. Ullman had to send an email to former Mayor Watts, reminding him, we're still paying this lobbyist, we can't afford it, he's not doing anything. So we don't know how many months we just kept paying this person without getting any work from it. It was just on the payroll. That's neglect and incompetence there. There's just so many things that happened. It was so disappointing to know all this was happening and not being aware of it. A person makes mistakes, especially, I make a mistake tonight, if I say something wrong and somebody points it out, I have to own up to it, to you. Okay, that's transparency. My bad. I may never get to be a council person again, okay? But that's my duty, my fiduciary duty to you people to do that. We weren't getting any of that. We're overspending the budget. We're replacing parts and not even coming to the council to let them know that we're making these expenditures. So I would recommend that we do whatever it is that we have to properly do to have an ethics investigation on these three people. We didn't even discuss the 401k plan because maybe no wrongdoing. Nobody was, trying to do something wrong. Maybe that money wasn't ended up in somebody's pocket. There's no evidence of that. But money was taken from our town employees' paychecks. They were put in this account. They should have been distributed to the company that was going to invest that. It wasn't. The town benefited from having all that money in an account, okay? If we had moved that money out of the general fund, our books may have looked even worse than they were. But we had this money sitting there, it's right there, but it's not doing anything, it's not doing what they were supposed to do, okay? So, there's that, which wasn't even, part of the investigation. So, I would recommend that we do whatever we have to do to go after an ethics violation for those three people that I've named. And I would go one step further, and that we entertain, because we know stuff that happened, that we entertain a resolution that these three people are never given a position of trust in the town of Welaka ever again. We need to set an example, okay, what we're going to accept as behavior and what we're not. Okay, so that's where I stand on this matter.
Very impassioned. Very impassioned. I believe we need to move forward too with some type of ethics, moving it off of our laps into the ethics commission or whatever it's called. I'm not sure of the proper process to do that. But then we're definitely getting towards a independent third party separate from the town investigating its own to do this type of investigation to see if it's warranted.
I have a question. Will the residents be able to see what we see in the binder?
Okay, let me say this. Number one, please do everything that we're trying to do. Work on that audit, number one. I would need a volunteer council person to come in. Number one, if a resident is kind of like your record request, but like I said, that's like 500 pages. You want to pay for those 500 pages? You can. Now, also, if you want to come and look at the binder, and you cannot take pictures, look at the binder, you can, but I would have to set aside time frame and ask for one of my council people to come and sit and watch it. That would be you all. I can't, I only got one other person. can't do it. Because you can't just sit there and take pictures and not pay for it. We could all do that. So it would be done, you would do like a record of request. If you want the copies, we'll get the copies, and I will ask volunteer council person to come in. If we get 4 or 5 requests, that you come in and run the copies, please. If a resident want to just simply come in and you wanna look through the pages, you can. But I would have to have a council member sitting there making sure you're not taking pictures. That's like so we can we can get together on, are we gonna say a 2 to 4 time frame? It'll probably take several hours.
It took me 3 hours to get through it all,
Okay,
and that was
so-
skipping reading all of the documents.
Yeah, so it could be like call or put in paper and say, I wanna take a look at it, or if you want, I'm rounding it off, so don't quote me, it'll probably be about $75-ish to run off all those copies. If anybody wanna do that, like I said, I will ask volunteer with my council to come in and run the copies. But, yeah, yes.
I have a question going back to somebody signing for to go forward to the ethics committee. Does that limit us, the attorney probably answered this one, does that limit us to only the people that were on the council during the time those things happened? Because we're looking at 3 new council members that did not have direct knowledge or interaction with the people that they're doing. So does that limit?
No.
It doesn't limit us.
It doesn't have to
Okay.
be someone on council, it could be.
It could
some-
be anyone it could be the community, to be
It
perfectly
could be
honest.
community if you recommend, or it could be, your police chief, someone like that. And then also that doesn't like, if, say someone from council does do, submits a letter, it could be someone else from the community that wants to submit another letter on top of that, and there's no limitations.
And that's another request I'm asking from the council, that someone volunteer to write the letter. With the council's letter, if I have my volunteer, I would like to send a copy of the book to them.
Well,
I can do that?
I don't think that they want that first. It was very specific in that cover letter not to send us hundreds of pages of documentation.
So I will tell you that they will accept it.
They will,
Yes,
okay.
I think they do that so that they're just not getting enumerated, like random requests.
Okay.
In specific situations, they'll accept it, they'll tell you like, just be expected, like it's a bigger document, it's gonna take us longer to get back to you.
And we're saying because we're concerned, is there,
And just another friendly reminder, so when you do send it, you're technically not sending on behalf of the board, even though you are, but the commission will receive it as you saying it in your individual capacity. So I wanna make sure you're tracking it.
So do we send, we would have to send with each name a copy of the binder? Or is it just one binder in the 3 names?
Ooh, that's a solid, good question. That's something we could work out, the kinks. I'm guessing, I'm gonna go for my gut, you have to probably send a binder. Because the way the ethics commission works is that they do not, they ask that you do not reference any other ethics complaint that has not been released. Because when an ethics complaint is filed, it's confidential. And so they will not, and they ask that if you file another one, that do not reference any other complaint that's not been released to the public. So I would say you probably have to send, find, if you do 3 copies.
Or portions of the investigation that
Yeah.
affected those particular
Yeah,
people.
that could be done as well.
So, so that it has to be somebody that was an eyewitness to this, or am I going too far?
I would say not an eyewitness, but just has enough information that they can swear to it. You don't want someone that's saying it's like, I heard it from Joe down the street.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, I didn't hear it from Joe down the street. I heard it from the lawyer who prepared the documents. That's what I know, what was in those documents. I didn't see or hear or experience any of that. So, how would I justify being qualified?
Do you have anyone that has, so usually when you do this, you swear to it. Is there anyone that has actually been involved in this that was in this?
If these things were done in secret and we only found out about them through this investigation, then there's no one that was a
That's
witness.
fair. You can still move forward with it. That's one of the requests that they ask, and if they're not able to take any action, then they're not able to take any action. But you can still move forward and try your best. That's what I would say.
Now, what about the accountant, Ms. Odom, who seemed, she wrote a letter, it's in here, that seemed very personal. What about the attorney who did the investigation, Ms. Miles? Are they eligible to make a complaint?
I don't want to speak on them. I mean, yes, to answer your question, yes, they're eligible. But to have them, I believe this board asked them to do an investigation. I think that would be odd to have them submit.
So that's gonna be the hard task, is to find somebody that can swear to having witnessed these,
Or knowledge
or knowledge of them, so that we were given this knowledge.
Mhm.
Because if that's the standard, then that's fairly easy. We were given the knowledge in the investigation.
You could try it that way. I just know in the past, they have rejected it. They say like, oh, we don't feel that you have firsthand knowledge in the past. So that might be a hill that you guys might be up against. But at the end of the day, it does not restrict you from at least submitting it.
Okay.
And then leaving it up to the commission to decide the matter.
And I do agree that once we do that, then we're done. It's gonna not help us to hash this out any further.
So do I have any volunteers for the council?
Well, which volunteers? You want volunteers to be proctors for people reading the,
I got
Binder?
several jobs
Which-
going on.
okay.
You get first who on the council wants to submit letters.
okay, I'm gonna have to contemplate that.
Well, I tell you what, council, get back to me and let me know. Because with the letter, as he was stating, we need to make sure we have the copies for the binder.
So what I would recommend is that you guys, do discuss it, and if you do want to move forward, I would bring it back in terms of diet, so it's
Right. So we could all contemplate what we wanna do, come back at our next regular meeting, or whatever, any meeting that you put on the agenda, a public notice meeting. Yes, because I don't think I can just come talk to you and say, okay, I'll do it. I don't think that's a sunshine issue. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, that gives us all time to think about,
So
Now,
you're
do I-
saying,
Go ahead.
so you're saying that we have to swear that we know firsthand information and, not just the information that we got from looking in the binder, going over the binder.
That's one of the things they require, yes. They require that if there is stuff that you're aware of, you can still submit it, but that's the uphill battle you're going against.
So being aware, let's just use,
If the only information you have from just reading the investigation, there's a good chance that they will not.
well, everyone had firsthand information about the alleged, I'm gonna use alleged affair. Cause it was on the news and we had been to several meetings about it, so everybody in the town know that happened. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that he did admit to it. But there was nothing the town can do about it, because I believe she was gonna try to bring up a lawsuit or something, but she couldn't. So it was, I wanna say that, that it's televised that he said that it happened. So, I mean,
And there are exceptions in reports. So if they see like maybe it's a statement that they have, I haven't reviewed the report, so I can't give you percent, but I have seen it where, so say an example, in another town or city, they submitted the report, they didn't have first-hand knowledge, but they had statements in that report. The commission went off those statements, because those statements were first-hand knowledge, and in those statements, they admitted to doing this, or they said they did that. So that could be another way, kind of around it.
Yeah, cause I know that, at one point, it was presented to us that he didn't know that the audits were due, but then you get this binder and have a letter that he sent, note saying that, you know, it's coming, so he knew that, the audits were late. That was just,
That should
yeah.
reach the standard, that
Yeah.
we now saw emails from the
From
state
him
saying that, you know, we,
To him,
you know,
from
we're a
him.
witness to these letters that said that, you know, your audits are late and there's gonna be repercussions. So, that's a direct knowledge
Yeah,
of it
and
right
he
there.
responded and
We're
said,
getting there
yeah,
now.
we know it's
And
late.
the
but
problem
we're getting
is I sat here and not one time, look at every agenda, was the word audit ever put on there. And I had accepted responsibility because I screwed up. I should have pressed, where's the audit? It's in the charter, I'm supposed to have it yearly. I did not, I own it. And unfortunately, the other people that were not doing what they were supposed to do have not stood up and accepted their level of responsibility, and that is the sad part of this.
So I'll add one more thing. So no matter what you guys decide, you do not have anything to lose by submitting it. Like, so, you know, it does not cost anything, there's no filing fees, it's just simply submitting it.
And, is there any libel, or can we be, you know, false?
No, the only way that you could technically, and this is a technical is if you submitted something that you knew was false. Like if
Okay.
you guys were submitting something that you knew was not true, then maybe someone could bring a lawsuit against you. But I'm not aware, at least in my discussions with Ms. Miles and Mr. Walker, that there was anything in that report that was false, other than the allegation that you guys were trying to prove that.
There were a couple of insinuations that weren't proven, so we would have to stay away from those.
Well, no, that, what I'm talking about, like, you knew that they were blatant lies, like, you guys went out of your way to make up false information and then submitted that to the commission. That is where you could run in trouble, but if there's an investigation report where there's accusations, some are unfounded, some are founded, then yes, you're okay in that scenario.
Yes, ma'am?
Elaine Dennis, the question I want to ask is, if you send this and the investigator comes in and starts investigating, can he expand from those 3 people to more people?
So, I have not seen a scenario that's happened, but that doesn't mean it can't not happen.
I guess what I'm just saying, be careful what you ask for. And I'm not happy with the train of events of what, but there's some on the council that was on the council then. Previous mayors, you know, is it gonna just roll up to this one real big snowball
So,
of the town?
to answer your question, so if you submit, investigation, say, hey, we have allegations against these 3 people, then they would investigate that. If they think that, say, during that investigation, other things come up, then they would either submit stuff to the governor's office or some other law enforcement agency for them to look into.
Okay. So we'll come back to this in September. Okay. And I would like to ask the council, anybody want to volunteer? I don't know, do this for about,
If I'm in town,
Same thing.
because I've got, some things going on, but if I'm here, I would be more than happy to spend 3 hours proctoring someone to read through. We have 1 binder, is that correct? Okay, so it can only be 1 person at a time.
so if someone, okay, wants to come and look at the binder, I prefer if you come and at least let us know, at the office. And if possible, you can give us a date. And we will get back with you in reference to, okay, we can have someone up here to sit in a conference room with you.
I would suggest multiple dates. that they're
Yeah.
available to be able to work around
Sure.
Councilman Pagano's.
Now, if you want a copy, okay, you're gonna have to let us know. It's not gonna be done overnight, okay? We gotta work with our council members, okay?
Doesn't just have to be one of us. We each take turn.
Oh, yes.
Everybody was-
I just want to sneak that in there. Get something down on schedule.
I don't know, now, you all would be ghosting a minute, and stuff, but anyway, so is there any questions on, like I stated, if you wanna come and look at it, you, by all means, you can, however, you cannot take photos, tell you that now, okay? If you want a copy, okay, by all means, you can, our copies are 15 cents, and like I stated, it's about 500 pages, roundabout, that's about $75. Okay, so, anyway. Yes,
To facilitate that, wouldn't it be better for there to be one council member watching someone make the copies, but you still charge for the copies?
yes, ma'am. No, we can't have that in the office. If someone wants copies, that will be done at another date and time, okay? We gotta still be careful on how council, I'm in there, how we gotta separate. So to have a person standing right there while they do copies, no, we prefer if you just give us a time frame, we can get back to you probably in a few days if you wanted the copies. That's all I'm asking.
And the idea behind that is there's sunshine laws where you can't have two council members discussing something that could possibly come before the dais. So I know it's just simple thinking like, oh, they're just copying, but what if just one conversation comes up and that could be technically a violation? So this is kind of just a very, very safe precaution.
And due to the fact, actually, right now, it's just two of us. That is my utility clerk and myself. Our firm comes in like 2 days a week, so that's it, okay?
So can I
And we
ask
are.
about, could we, scan the document in and then you maintain it on whatever, so that then if another person comes in at another time, then all we have to do is print it from whatever safe location on your computer, sending it right to the printer and it's printed. So that if you scan the document, you put it in there one time and you scan it and it's there. So if 5 different people come and request, you're not standing at the copier. You've stood at that copier one time. So I'll come in one time and I'll scan the entire 500 pages. And then it is securely kept in however we need to get with our IT people, so that it is a password that only you know. You can go in there, you can hit the print button, Haley can pick it up, and it's done.
You wanna come in and scan?
Well, my grandbabies are gone now, so yes.
I will close the door, okay?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But
fine.
I mean, I'm trying to simplify something that doesn't need to be quite so complicated, if that's okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Council? It's okay.
If you go through the process of scanning it in, which I like as a PDF,
Right.
can't you just make that available to,
You have to charge. You talking about to give it to someone?
No, put it on the website, put it on the
make it a
.gov or
downloadable
Welaka.gov.
thing or something? I don't know.
It'll be standard product, standard process to charge for that because you are making copies. That is time, government time, every time you're, even if you're like scanning it, you're submitting it to somebody. And also, I don't
So
know
you
how.
can charge for the PDF, in other words.
Yeah, and well, I also say, I don't know your IT, but I don't know how big the document is, but is it easy to email out?
I wouldn't think so, it would have to be, yeah. it would have to be-
Thumb drive. or-
Yeah, so you're thinking about the time, every time you're going in, that is,
And I might even scan it in sections, so that in the event that it's even too much to send to the copier, you know what I'm saying, so I'll look at it.
So you will move, oh, yes,
So, is the document a public document?
yes.
correct.
It is,
Yes.
so all the public has the right to see it,
Yes, ma'am.
correct? If you digitize it, right, and not just scan it, but actually digitize it, why couldn't you just have that on the website where people could, and if they wanted to download it, and, you know, you could still charge for it, you know, with a digital charge, you know, if you wanna you know, everybody does that. Put a digital charge on it, $10 to download, and then all of your time is done. You know, and you can digitize, I mean, there's 500 page documents in courts all the time that you can access, you know, by just going to Putnam County and accessing them, and I can look at all 500 pages. So if we digitize it instead, I mean, because even scanning it is, I mean, that's a lot of time, you know, and you guys are volunteers, I just, like, if we digitize it once, and if it's a truly public document, then let's put it on the website, and then you guys are out.
Yeah, if you guys have the capability of doing that, is an option.
Yeah, it's
I
kind
will
of, just kind of
ask
like
my
downloading a
IT
book and
on
paying for it.
tomorrow. Okay? And you can call me probably by 2 o'clock and say, Ms. Washington, have you checked? I will check to see if we can have that capability. I'm fine, that's, okay? All right.
Is there a
Thank you for the
possibility that,
suggestion.
that Douglas Law Firm, Ms. Miles, has this on an electronic file?
That I don't have that conversation, I have not had that conversation with this, Lisa, but we can find that out.
We could ask.
So what I will tell you, what my other clients do is that, like the lady said, is that they submit a public records request, and if the file is capable of being transferred via email, they'll submit it via email, or they'll submit it through some type of, I'll show you how good I am at IT, but, some type of Dropbox. And so, I don't know if you have those capabilities, but if you have those capabilities, that could be an option as well. It's the good old fashioned way where you print it out, and just don't figure out be able to detail it. Downloading, if you have the capability of do that, it's just, what I would recommend is someone submits an actual public records request, you guys process it, and then you send it to them that way. I wouldn't put it on a website or anything like that.
But there's no stopping like me from putting it on a website. If I submit for the public's document, I pay
Once
the
you get it in your
$75.
hands, you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think
Okay.
it's gonna be many people, I think it's gonna be a few people that get it and share it with everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Once you get it,
would
sir,
Once
you're
you
done.
Yes,
get it,
okay.
then somebody's gonna say, hey, I got it, let me send this to you, and then it'll go from there.
I just think transparency is a big deal here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to number D, as far as with the parks ordinance under section 6. And basically, just to sum it up, dealing with, do we wanna charge for the use of water usage, for like your playground equipment, your inflatable water slides, water playground? Do we wanna charge for that per usage or just a straight fee per day? Because right now, if someone wanted to have a water slide at any of our parks, they can. So my question is, if we do a usage, that means, staff is gonna have to come out, read the meter. When they're finished, read the meter. That's overtime too. Or we just have a straight fee if someone is going to use the water slide. So that's kinda like what I wanted to talk about,
So we're talking about,
cause we don't have a fee right now.
but we're talking about somebody who wants to put up, let's say, an inflatable in one of the parks that utilizes water. Do we have a way to monitor that water that?
Is there a meter at each of these
Is there a
parks?
meter for one, and two, how do you disassociate that from people using restrooms
Right,
or
you
whatever,
really can't.
shop, you know?
Can't.
So it seemed like we can't really do that just a daily fee would be the way to do it.
But also, I feel like if, I'm having a small birthday party for a kid and I'm filling up 2 kiddie pools. And then, I'm not using a lot of water, and then you have the big slide that's out there that's you continuously using water all day for hours. How do you, I wouldn't feel that I should have to pay the price that they're paying for that if I'm only using, 50 gallons.
I would say, okay, just like, and I used this past weekend as a prime example. That little water playground they had was small. When I was told they were gonna have, like a inflatable slide, I thought it was gonna be the big ones. So, and I see what you're saying. You could have a little pool and, you know, wouldn't wanna be charged the same amount as the big slides. So I don't know if we talk about big slides where we can set a per day fee, you know, and,
Well, I personally think that it should be the meter read, only because, say, if we think that they're gonna be out there with a big slide for a couple of hours and they're all day with the water running, that can get a lot of gallons. And we're just charging a flat fee of whatever. As far as overtime for our person that's gonna come and read the meter, our staff, don't we have somebody on call on the weekends that's here already, in the town?
There are, I mean, the utility department has call-outs all the time. You know, things break any time of the day. So there are people on call that have, you know, that can be called in the middle of the night to go out to the site. I believe that they get a minimum of 3 hours. Is that?
So if they get a minimum
Yeah,
of
so-
3 hours, they can
Right.
go and read the meter, and then when who's ever finished, read the meter again.
Well, if they come in the morning and then it goes all day, and then they have to come back in the afternoon, that's 6 hours.
Because
Because,
they're not there for 6 hours.
but and I may be incorrect in this, and maybe that was just a study that was done or a recommendation, but I'm not sure that we just pay on-call for just the specific amount of time that they're out. Okay, it usually, an on-call gets more than just, I mean, you get more than just if they're out for 5 minutes, they're not gonna get paid for 5 minutes, they're gonna get paid for at least 8 hours.
But if they're
And
only
don't
there
quote
for
me on the
5
number of
minutes,
hours, but even if it was for 1 hour, okay? So that's an hour to read the meter and an hour to come back and check the meter. 2 hours is probably around $30. Plus it's probably time and a half, so it's more like $45. That's a lot of water for someone to use, just to pay the person to come out and read the meter. Is this going on a lot?
Who opens the park? Unlocks the park in the morning and afternoon.
well, in the morning.
In the morning, and someone-
General maintenance, they open.
On the
And,
weekends.
and
We have
evenings
staff
is our,
that we're
office.
paying.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's overtime, but we'll have to look into that, but somebody opens the park, I think it's the police department. Nope,
No,
not
they
anymore.
lock.
You lock it, somebody else opens it though.
Right, general
Okay.
maintenance.
Okay, so somebody unlocks the park in the morning, who's ever, I guess, on call, on duty, or weekend coverage. And then, we have staff. And it doesn't take 5 minutes to read a meter. I mean, if you get called out and you get paid, 3 hours, and you're spending 5 minutes, maybe that's something we should look
But
at.
that's on each time that you're coming out.
You got an answer?
Yes.
Why don't you have one price for a small pool and ask them what they're using, a small pool, not to exceed X amount of gallons, and then a different price for a water slide. Depending on what they want to use, it's pretty simple to sort of relegate what it is and prorate it. Just have a set fee for small pools and a set fee for water slides.
Okay, and so the set fee for a water slide that's gonna run, water in a water slide for 6 hours, what fee
I
would
think
that would be?
it can be, well, you can calculate it out.
How many hours they're gonna
I've
have
got a
parking.
pool in my yard and I fill it up periodically and it's not outlandish.
Yes,
Um,
state your name.
Michelle Turner, 724 Fairmont Street. How is it gonna be determined if I just come to the public park and set up? And have a birthday party? And I bring a little water slide? How is that gonna be determined, whether you send somebody out or not, or tell me what the fees are? And then I have another question too. Then it's a public park, is the meter running all day when other people are coming and using water?
I mean, for me, I think the water slide could be a liability for us as a town. So I'm not really sure where we got to the fact that your birthday party using our facility, we have a playground that you can use, we have a pavilion that you can go under, and we have bathrooms. Yes, we do things as a town there to bring in other things, but that's us as a town, so I'm just not sure, like, if a child gets hurt out there on this huge slide, I'm not sure that it's really, so they're giving proof of insurance for a party?
They should.
They should, according to we wrote that a long time ago.
It's like if you're having, it's definitely something like your inflatable water,
Yes,
like a big slide,
yes.
you should have insurance on that.
So they are giving, when they fill out the packet, they're giving us the fact that they have the insurance. They
Okay,
should be.
just like with us, like I said, it was small.
Oh yeah, I saw it this weekend, yeah.
But we did have them to sign, a statement that the town
Good,
would
okay.
not be liable
Okay.
if
Good deal.
another child came out there and got hurt.
Right.
We're not liable, and they did, it was not an issue
Perfect,
with
okay. Well, then I agree with it needs to be a flat fee for me, but,
I'm for the flat fee.
and I mean,
But what
that's, we just tried not to have so many fees. That's kind of why there wasn't a fee to begin with. Because as a council, we felt like we wanted to provide parks. We wanted people to use the parks, we wanted them to enjoy it, and we felt like they shouldn't have to pay for it because they're already paying taxes.
Let me first find out what does the usage at our parks run. Let me get that information, okay? And we'll come back and revisit, okay? But, I mean, it's not like at each of our parks, we see gigantic water slides. But it was something that came on the table and I said, well, let me just check into this. Ms. Turner.
Back when we were doing this park deal before, doing the ordinance, I think Patrick had said no water, and I can't remember if they put it in a resolution or what, but it was said no water, they can put up a bounce house, but no water.
Right.
Well, then we need to make sure as the town that we're not doing that either. So.
I think that.
But if it's the town, I think if we're doing a special event for the town, we should be able to do, I mean, because we're the town, we're doing an event.
The thing that we're gonna run into, if we, do the water slide and we say, I'm just gonna go at $100 for the big thing, and they have, run water all day and we see that it's way over what we wanted to do, and we run into the fact that people that are not residents of Welaka coming in and say, hey, I'm gonna put up a water slide and I'm gonna charge you guys whatever to come and stay on the water slide all day. Are we gonna say no to them? Are we like, how do you know if it's Welaka residents? It's a lot. I think it would be a good idea to have the water park, especially during the summers when it's hot, but we have to regulate and have some guidelines on what we will and won't allow. That's the only thing, and I don't feel that if I got a kiddie pool out there that wanna fill it out with 50 gallons and then pay the same price as somebody else that's gonna be out there 6 hours with a humongous water slide. That's my only concern.
Okay, if we can come back to this, I wanted to put it out, so with residents, you meanwhile, talk to us, okay?
Town clerk has a question.
Okay, yes.
I just recommend that you check with your insurance company first, because if, no matter what, if they're on town property, you're gonna be liable even if you have them sign something that says they have anything else. So I would check with whoever you have insurance, if they're allowed to have it or not.
Someone else has their hand up.
Cynthia Washington. It's a lot of times after you have a event, then somebody come in after you too. So it needs to be a guideline, so somebody gonna have to come out there and read it. If I have a water slide from 11 to 4, usually, sometimes somebody come back out to the park and use it again, so where you guidelines at?
Yes, ma'am.
Are these people coming in and getting the permission to have their party at these parks? Aren't we
No.
supposed to be filling
No.
out requests?
The individual, and I hope the individual doesn't mind me using their event, they did have a permit for it. Yes.
Right, yes.
Basically, the ones, the events that are, gonna be quite a bit of people, yes, they come and get a permit.
I figured whenever kids are, when anybody's having a birthday party at the parks or whatever, they're supposed to have a permit to have it.
Well, if you're talking maybe like 20 people,
Yeah, I thought that they had to have a permit to say, we're using the shelter this time, these hours.
Yeah, they sign up for the park, say
Yeah.
if you wanna have Jefferson's Park,
Right.
and you let the clerk know, say, I'm on this day, I wanna be at the park, they'll put your name down so that you'll have a reservation, so
Right.
nobody else will go there and set up shop when you already reserved it.
Right.
That's
yes.
different.
Well, so coming back, if somebody coming in behind you, you should have knowledge of that.
You
You
should,
should
but
have
that
knowledge
doesn't
of it.
always happen.
Like you said, if you had a small birthday party and you got there before me, but I had did my permit,
Mm-hmm,
I have precedence.
right, right.
Okay, but I don't think that happens a whole lot.
No, I was just responding to what she was saying.
That's the process, as
Okay.
far as go ahead and get a permit, you know, if you wanna make sure that spot is for you. And I don't think we've run into a lot of issues where somebody said, well, you all gotta pack up and leave. If it is, it had come by me. Yes.
And that's, it's not only people in Welaka that come to the park. I have sat there and observed people come from somewhere else and have something in the park. So if they don't have knowledge that they're supposed to come get a permit, to see if they can have a water slide or whatever, and they just go set it up, and then other people come into the park to play. You still got water meters running, not just on my account if I got a bounce house, but on theirs on too, so I'm getting charged their fee.
We just want information to come to us.
But it's a public
we'll
park,
bring it
so
back.
I don't see, you know, it'd be complicated to charge somebody with the public park, because if they look on the website, oh, Jefferson's a nice place to go have a picnic or party, then they come to Jefferson, not knowing what we're here discussing for the town.
Yes, ma'am?
Sarah Van Slight, 2010 Elm Street. When we had our family reunion, we didn't get permission. They told us no, that we couldn't have the water slide, but we could have the bounce house. The town didn't allow it anymore because of the insurance and different, even though we had insurance, our private insurance, but still, you couldn't have water, you could have the bounce house.
So we'll come back to this. Please, everybody, reach out to us and voice your suggestions, okay? All right, we'll move on down to E with, Douglas Law Firm. We have the letter.
So from reading the letter, what I understand is that we're charged right now $48,000 a year for 5 hours a week.
4,000.
4,000 a month for 5 hours
Retainer.
per week.
Now,
No.
when you say that,
Well,
but
I don't
what
say
I'm,
that.
I-
That's
no,
what
no,
they said in the
no,
letter.
what I'm saying is, one of the things that has happened is that they are using more hours, in dealing with us.
Yes, okay.
Due to a lot of.
I was just trying to set the
Yeah.
base here.
So that is why the increase, and just to let everybody know, as of right now, we do pay our lawyer firm 4,000 a month as a retainer, okay? We were on council, we went with Douglas Law Firm due to the fact that it's more than one lawyer. So just like Mr. Jeremiah couldn't be here, Mr. Blanker couldn't be here tonight, it's still a very capable lawyer that's sitting in that seat to help us out. So that was kind of like the main reason of, going with the firm. But, as the letter states, they've been using a lot more hours with us due to a lot of things. And so they wish to increase by 1,500, which would make it at 5,500.
We're 66,000 a year. Yeah. Okay. What does that, I guess that amounts to about another hour and a half. What the 6 3/4 hours, what do we get for 6 3/4? 6 hours, 6 3/4 hours.
So that's general services, so that's like where I'm here right now
Right.
with you. Anytime you call Mr. Blocker or he's not available, or any other attorney that's advising on you, anywhere from review of contract, drafting ordinances, that's what that's.
That's for drafting out ordinances.
Yeah, any type of work that we do as a general counsel.
Okay.
Usually in our contract, if there's a litigation services, litigation is a totally different ballgame.
Okay.
So then we would charge extra for that because that takes a lot more time.
Okay, and some of our boards, like the charter review and the zoning board, and code enforcement board, it's probably advisable at some of those meetings that they have an attorney present, especially those three. They're usually doing some sort of hearing, okay? Or in the matter of the charter, we've got to make sure our charter revisions are following the rules. Would that be included?
Yes, that should be, so, don't have the information, but I feel like I've been at one of your planning boards before.
You have?
Yeah, so I mean, I would take it, then that would be included as well. Yes.
All right, just wanted to make sure that, because, I don't think $66,000 is an unreasonable amount of money. We certainly, if we're getting all of that. Okay, so, yeah.
But that's just a retainer.
Yes.
What are we paying above and beyond retainage fees?
That's that's what you're paying to have us here to work those hours.
Unless there's a case or litigation or something further from the normal scope.
Yeah.
Just the day-to-day, I had to call Mr. Walker on a Sunday one time because something came up.
That covers
And I was on the phone for 45 minutes and there's no additional, he'll track those hours just so they know what they did, but we're not billed for that.
Okay.
So yeah, like she says, it's called non-billable hours. We track them, so then also every year, if you guys are like, hey, what are you working on? You see that we're not just twiddling our thumbs, we're actually working for you guys.
So, do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
We need a motion other than the chair.
Well, okay, so I'll make a motion that we approve an additional $1,500 per month retainer for general services that we've come to expect.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We haven't had them in zoning for ages, and we haven't seen you in forever.
I'll let them know.
Okay, we're gonna move on to our reports, Citizen Advisory Committee. Anyone?
Sorry?
Citizen Advisory Committee? Events Committee?
Okay, let me bring some fun. Okay, good evening, everyone. Respectfully, we're losing fun in this town. And I understand the water situation, the stuff, but our community is just right there. Because we had a great opportunity and we're not gonna be able to do it now because of the water situation. But we're gonna make it work anyway. We are gonna have our food truck Friday, August 15th. And we have an estimated 5 to 7 trucks that'll be joining us. I will share with you, last month we had an intimate food truck Friday. We had 3 trucks. We had weather at 112 degrees. And so not many people stayed, but they came and got food and left. So the trucks did well, but it was just definitely a different experience for us. We tried to keep them in the shade. We stayed over by the pavilion that shaded and had entertainment. So we thought it was a good time considering the heat was involved. Our hope was to do a back to school for the children for August, just to celebrate getting back into routine. We wanted to consider the fire truck shooting out water, letting them, play in the water, water balloons, things like that. So I don't know, is that something we could consider, or is that not?
It's not a slide.
Okay, so we're okay with that.
Okay.
So is that what you were referring to when you said we weren't gonna be able to do it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like every time I sit in here, I take things off my list. I'm like, geez.
Somebody probably knows better than I, but don't the fire trucks fill from a well?
No, the fire truck.
Well, I'm gonna reach out, I know Scott's on vacation, but I'm gonna reach out to Jay because I know that there's a time where they.
Hold on a second.
Oh, Todd, do you know?
Yes, they
Okay.
can get their own water. They don't have to hook
Okay.
up to anything, so yeah, they can.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, they can do that.
So I'm still gonna check with them, see if they'll bring the truck and we could do the water for the children. And we wanted to really make it kid friendly this time. And just make it fun, get them back into school and celebrate, school starting back.
And which that's a great idea. You could actually even have them do a little, about if your house caught on fire, like the whole fire safety.
Well, we are
routine
considering that.
for them at the same time before you start all the fun, like.
Right.
Yeah.
We were gonna have them do a tour of the truck, let the children get on it and kind of explain. I think Aaron's checking with Chief Mike to see if we can bring a police car out there and do a little, just to bring the community together and say, hey, this is us and this is, and then the big celebration would be the water to play and with water balloons and just.
Especially younger kids,
That's
like if
it,
they
yeah.
see a fire, like don't crawl under your bed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that
Safety.
whole afraid. Yeah.
All right, so then, all right, we're back on then. Okay. We're planning to do entertainment. We're not sure yet what we want to do. We had karaoke last month. It was successful in the fact they played music, but no one got up and did karaoke. But it was 112 degrees, so maybe there was a reason. But that is our thought of what we're going to do for August for something fun for the town. And we'll be able to give you more details if there's anything that changes. So I'm grateful to hear we can do the fire truck thing.
And
'Cause I was
that's when
thinking-
again?
Pardon me?
When?
August 15th.
Next week.
Yes.
What time?
We put on there 5:30 to 8:30, but we have certain trucks that come at 4:30 and they're advertising on their websites that they'll be there at 4:30.
Right.
So we just open the gate early and let them get their food and do whatever. So, but it should be 5:30 to 8:30. We are, for the water and, for the fire truck and the police, we've asked that we just do an hour of their time, so they're not out there the whole time. And I think it's from 6 to 7. We thought that would be a time to bring kids out, let them celebrate a little bit with the fire trucks and the police, and then do the fire thing, so, the water spout.
So let me ask, because I was under the impression that when we talked about the water, it was for just regular residents, but if it was a town putting on an event, that you guys can do it, so.
Well, I just wanted to clarify, because there was
Okay.
some discussion that, you got residents
That's
say, well, how
fine.
come the town can do it but the residents can't? So I just wanted to make sure we were still okay to do what we planned to do. And
Yeah.
if not, we were gonna just not do water.
Yeah.
We
The
would do-
town can put on an event.
Okay.
from
The
us.
other thing I wanted to record for the events committee is that there has been questions about the sunshine rule with us. Now, we're a committee and an events committee. That means we're planning all the time. We're coming up with ideas, we're meeting with people, we have conversations. The only thing I do is I email and text the whole group at a time if there's something that I need to share with them or if I'm asking them for feedback. Am I required as an events committee to be part of the sunshine?
How were you guys created?
They appointed us.
Were you appointed at any type of statute or anything like that?
No, they just said, hey, we like her, we want her to be on the events committee.
All right. So, I want to make sure I understand. So, your role as a committee, you just make
We have
events
fun.
and you bring them up there. All
We
right?
have fun.
And you're not procuring any services or anything like that. You just bring it up there, and then you get official. Council makes the final decision.
Yeah, I keep them updated to what we're doing, and if they have questions, that we answer them in this forum. But other than that, the rest of it's planning the events.
So you don't make any decisions without council's final.
No, I always bring it up to them what we're doing.
Then you're fine. If you were,
Okay.
so if you were procuring some type of service, and like say you were like doing a procurement, and you restricted certain people and took them out, and then you only like submitted 3 applicants to the council, that's where you would
Okay.
be acting as a sunshine. So no,
No, we're about the fun.
okay. Then you're good to go.
There's not a whole lot of organization when it comes to fun. All right, that is all I have. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Tree board?
We'll just take this opportunity that I officially resigned from the tree board. Okay, but they need to meet in October. They need to start meeting again in October to plan Arbor Day for January.
Well, as I stated, until we get town clerk, she's my town clerk for council meetings only. Committees have to be on hold.
Well, I do recall, like, at one point, Citizens Advisory, even one of the first charter committees taking their own notes, taking their own minutes. Is that?
As long as they're meeting the statute requirements for the minutes don't have to be exact minutes. Ms. Clerk, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but as long as it's a summary of the minutes, that's fine. But I would just say if someone's going to do that, you probably want to get some type of instruction and training to make sure we're meeting all the requirements.
This is the reason why I say that is, I know things are really tough right now, but the business of town has to go on. We have an event, and the events committee, in the past has helped with the, Arbor Day planning, okay? So, maybe we can turn it over to them completely, and they can just ask for assistance from one of the board members, the tree board members. I think that one board member can talk to another different board member, so I think that would be okay. They do have a tree plan that hasn't been approved yet. Okay, but discovered an issue that we hadn't planned for, whereas a resident wants to remove a town tree and is willing to pay for it. We've had 2 separate opinions from our 2 different lawyers on 2 different instances. So there is stuff that's gonna come up, but mainly it's this Arbor Day planning. So if you guys can handle that.
Well, we've already added it to our list
Okay.
for the year.
Right, well, that will help with that.
Yeah.
And then,
And we'll do it the same way we did
That we
before.
have the town clerk right now, I'm really ready.
Okay.
But I can only go back right there.
Sure.
So I'm hoping, I really am.
Okay.
Anyway,
Have a hand.
yes.
Sandy is on the tree board, so she and I will coordinate that for Arbor Day, and we'll take care of that.
Yeah.
Got her reeled in.
What's in?
She'll get over it.
All right, great. All right, historical board,
She's not here.
charter review committee.
Evening, council.
Uh,
Larry Pritchett, speaking to you as Vice Chair of the Charter Review Committee. As I think you know, the chair has been promoted to the town council and has resigned. So that's why I'm here. I have two subjects I'd like to raise with you, one of which you just got through discussing, that being schedule of meetings. So I understand about the staffing. I'm not here to complain, but our meeting in June, our meeting in July, and now our meeting in August, those meetings have all been canceled. When September rolls around, I would like to be able to start meeting on a weekly basis so that we can catch up, because frankly, I'm feeling a sense of urgency about the charter, and we're obviously way behind where I thought we would be. So I would like your permission to meet on a weekly basis, and obviously I guess we need to be staffed or have somebody.
Can they take their own minutes?
As long as it's just a summary of the minutes, and they submitted, and it has to be, so the minutes will have to be kept here. So if someone wants to get a public records request, so there's a copy of it. So they just need to be followed the right procedures.
So if you all have someone who wants to take the minutes on your committee, and they turn it in to the council, and I'll make sure it's documented.
Tentatively, I'd like to begin meeting on September the 8th, and every week thereafter, if we can work it out, because we have work to do.
I have some dates in September that cannot be changed, so please get back with me tomorrow.
The 8th is
Yeah, I can't, and that's dealing with, I gotta coordinate with the county, the school board, my Pomona Park clerk, so I got 2 dates that I can't switch up in September. So can you please check with me tomorrow?
Of course.
And you can do a weekly meeting, that's fine. But if you wanna, if the committee wanna pick someone to do the minutes and do a summary and turn it into me. Yes, sir.
Is there a guidebook or something? You mentioned it has to follow a certain structure?
It just has to meet the statute requirements. I don't have it in front of me, but I know they just have to have a summary of them, and then we have to keep track of them. So I would recommend that it's typed up, so they're legible, and then that we keep them in recording with the recording statute as well.
With the statute, is that the sunshine?
It would, I don't know if it's exact on the statute, but it would, under the sunshine, but it'd be, I forget which, Madam Clerk, do you know, but that's okay if you
I
don't.
can't watch the statutes.
Yeah, we'll find that out for you and get you that number, so then
We'll get
it's a very easy
information on
system.
how
I
you
just don't
have
have access
to
to it.
conduct, what you have to have in your.
And I'll be in touch with you tomorrow. I have a second subject I need to raise. When the council created this charter review committee last winter, you created a 7-member committee. Since that time, we've had resignations. We have one member who's just not able to come to the meetings at all. So we only have 4 active members right now. And it's not clear to me, if we are a 7-member committee, that means that all 4 of us active members have to be there just to even have a quorum. Even to approve minutes or do anything, it would mean that we would have to be unanimous to pass anything. And that's a very high bar for the committee. I would like to suggest that you either add somebody or authorize us to act with a 3-member quorum so that we can have a more regular meeting process.
I asked a question about it, sorry. So, I was researching another issue. So, when you guys established that committee, how many members did you?
7.
So I would say it has to stay at 7. So.
Can we amend the resolution?
I don't know what your charter says. I would need to look at your charter. to give you better advice on that. In theory, yes, I don't see it, as long as the charter allows it, I don't see an issue with it.
So it's, the committee started out as a 5-member committee.
Okay.
The first committee was a 5-member committee, the second committee was a 5-member committee. This committee, for some reason, I was over there, went with 7.
Okay.
We never had a meeting where we had 7 people. It just did not work out. So either we should write a new resolution, because we write one all the time, reestablishing the committee with 5, or amend the resolution and get it back to 5.
What I would do is let me look, I'll get with Mr. Blocker and have him reach back out. My only hesitant doing that is because usually when you change something with committees, you usually don't change the number, you usually sunset committees, and then you start a new committee. So I wanna make sure that we do the right procedure, but ideally, what I would recommend you do next time is if you have a 5-member or a 7-member committee, you can appoint all the members, but then have alternates. So then they don't have to come back to you guys if someone can't do it anymore. That would be an easier process.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, the charter, everything has just been tumbling. There may be other people now that want to be a part of the charter. Is there any way that it can be put out there for other people to fill out the application or whatever needs to be done?
Can we get verification on the people who have not come or whatever, that they want to step down off? And then we can put people in the position.
Vice Chair, because we've been missing meetings also because we didn't have a clerk to take minutes. So
my suggestion or question would be, if you can reach out to those who normally don't come and ask them, do you want to resign from the position? They say yes, that opens up a position.
We've had a number of resignations, and the only member that's technically is a member but is not able to attend is former Mayor Lockridge. And so he would be the only one I could contact, and I don't do that because of the Sunshine Law. Sunshine Law has scared me to death to have any kind of communication at all.
So sir, when you're contacting him, are you just asking him if you're gonna attend or not?
Well, see, I haven't contacted anybody. I don't send emails, phone calls, nothing.
Think about it this way. So the Sunshine Law applies that you can't talk about any communication that you expect to come before the dais. So if you're just calling and say, hey, how was your coffee today? That's fine. But if you're calling to say, hey, are you gonna attend the meeting tonight? That's also fine. You just can't talk about anything that's gonna be coming for the dais that should be before the dais. So like the water utility, that you would not be able to talk to about. So the charter amendments, you're like, hey, what do you think about this charter amendment? Yeah, you wouldn't talk about that over text or over a phone. But if you're just asking, hey, will you be able to come to the meeting tonight? That's okay.
Ms. Turner, you have a question?
no, I was just, as far as who's interested in, Mr. Lockridge did respond to me when we had meetings. He was at work at the time, but he did say after June, whatever, he would be free. So it's after June but we hadn't had any meetings, so he may be available.
So when you all get the scheduled dates for your September and you're trying to run them weekly so that you can catch up, like, how town already stated, you can reach out and say, are you gonna come to these meetings? Or do you wanna resign?
I think
Or can we get it like a resignation letter so we'll have it on file so we'll know, well, you only have 3 or 4 people, we can appoint another 3 or 4 people to the board. But we can't appoint them if we didn't know that they resigned.
Well, it need to be established how many we actually have now. I mean, because if we don't know the exact number because someone was missing then, they didn't never say that they resigned. They were just working at the time of the meetings.
So, Kenny resigned.
Yes,
I mean.
that's one, yeah, we know he did. So if we could just, get the names of the other ones.
Someone is interested.
Yeah.
See an application.
Do you know who you have? You have Carol Collier, yourself,
Oh, yeah, Janice
Michelle.
Brown
and Janice Brown.
and Michelle,
That's the four.
that's the four.
Right. And possibly Mr. Lockwood, if he's now available to come to the meeting.
That would make
So that's,
five.
you're gonna reach out to him
I
and see if
will.
he's available, and if he's not, you're gonna ask him if he's willing to resign, so that you get someone else on the board. In the meantime, we're looking into changing the committee size from 7 to 5. So, that's something. Okay.
Police department? Utility department? I'm gonna say something in lieu of the utility. Number one, we, on 308, they were able to run the lines so that the, properties on that road can have the wastewater. So that was completed. Also, I am very, very happy. This is something that I've been asking for. I stated the last month that we have the alarm system set up, so if the water plant loses power, we'll be notified. That is, myself, Chief, Pauline and Tyler Buford. Also, what was added, that I was adamant on, if the water PSI drops, right now our average PSI is 55. So if it drops to 45, we will get notified. At 45, it gives Tyler and Pauline time enough to get out there. It was kind of like saying, well, we can wait to 30. I'm like, no, we ain't waiting to 30, but 20 is more water. So I'm very happy that that has been implemented. Very happy, okay? So, as far as with the utility department, yeah, that's what I wanted to just add for them. Public Works. Okay. Town Attorney,
Nothing at this time.
Town Council, Councilman Kenneth O'Donnell.
Yes, okay. The number one, believe it or not, the number one issue in the town right now isn't taxes, isn't property values, it isn't, even this whole matter of ethics. It's that, the owl. There isn't a post that goes through talking about something that has to do with town where someone doesn't bring up, when are we gonna get back on streaming? So, I know, it's probably low priority. So the question that is being asked, and I'm gonna ask is, do we have an IT department and can they come in and fix it?
It's not about fixing it, who's gonna man it? Said, okay, let me say this.
Yes.
And
please.
I've heard the concerns. As I stated, having the minutes done by town clerk, that is mandatory by law. Facebook Live is not. Last meeting before this one, I was trying my best to honor the wishes of everybody. I had IT in here, I'm taking pictures, trying to figure out how in the world to do all that. I ended up being late to the meeting because IT told me I need to have things set up running 15 minutes prior, at least. So I did not get the opportunity to hopefully make everybody happy, okay? Me again. I'm running around like crazy right now. I did not have it. So, again, my council members, if one of you, I schedule a time for IT to come in here and show you, by all means.
100% willing to do that.
I will schedule, have them,
Absolutely. And I
work
might
with you.
ask for some help from others.
So, because.
I think we should be doing that right now. There's four of us here that we should be.
Because I can't do it all.
We should be pitching in wherever we can. And if
And-
it's researching something, like what are other towns doing with water slides? If it's, you know, you did the town clerk resumes, I'd be happy to jump in and see what I can do about getting the owl streaming. That's, I think we should be doing that.
And one of the things I wanted to say, because I've had individuals to reach out to me, I want to volunteer. And I appreciate everybody that has reached out and want to volunteer. However, this is a government entity. So I could not have, say for instance, because I've had individuals, well, I want to help out with the owl and stuff. You break it. Not on purpose, but it's on us. So it has to be staff to work with these things. And I did double check that with the Lord. So, Mr. Pagano, you will have the honors, okay?
Thank you.
And I did tell everybody it wasn't that, again, because Facebook Live was not a state mandated that we have to have it. So by me running around, trying to do everything, I had to put that on the back burner. And I stated to several individuals that once we get staff, by all means, we'll go back to that, you know. I'm very happy, and I ask that you all will continue to be patient. Trust me, I am here.
Thank you.
Okay.
And thank Patty and Carl, because I think they've been recording the meeting all night, haven't you?
Yes.
And it's been,
The Facebook that died, but it's been recording the whole time, so we'll post it later tomorrow.
I'm gonna cut out that little section there and post that, so every time somebody asks that question, they're doing this on purpose. I'm gonna go, this from the mouth.
All right.
I am.
Okay. Mr. Councilman David Jones.
Nothing at this time.
Councilwoman Sandy Walker.
I met with, Tom Moore, code enforcement supervisor in Putnam County, a couple weeks ago. He said, I told him our situation. He said that he was gonna reach out to the supervisors and get back with me. He did have, some, code enforcement, people that he knew. He said he would reach out to them to see if we go in the way of hiring somebody part-time, see if anybody is willing to come work for us. He did say that they only have 3 code enforcement officers, and they cover like a 700-mile radius for Putnam County. And more than likely, they wouldn't be able to help. If they could, it would be little at a fee. So I said, they seem pretty busy now with the cases that they have. So he did say that he did ask a question so that he can tell people what the rate would be. And I said it would be part-time, whatever it was gonna be, and he wanted to know if part-time workers get benefits. So I wasn't sure about that. He asked, was there any benefits involved? And I said I would come and ask. Part-time could be anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 hours a week, something like that. So I wasn't sure about that, but he did say that he was gonna email us and let us know what his supervisor said about, you know, what they could do, if they could do anything for us. So, that is, you know, basically we need someone. He did say that it was a young lady in Crescent City that worked part-time for Crescent City doing their code. So, he said that he would reach out to her and see, since she's part-time over there, maybe she could be part-time here as well. He didn't know, but he would let me know guess the question is, if they can't help, what are we willing to pay per hour for a code enforcement officer, and how many hours a week did we actually need for a code enforcement officer? Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for everything you're doing, I'll say that.
Okay, I just wanted to quickly, restate, if you're paying your utility bill and you're paying it with a credit card, debit card or whatever, you can call on the telephone. You just need to make sure you have your account number. That's the one thing. And as I stated, checks are being scanned every day, so you're probably seeing them clear quicker than what has been, okay? I just love that capability. Also, as everybody has probably known, or I don't know, I didn't hear any feedback with it, but we cut our customer service hours at 4:30 now, rather than 5. Reason being, stand here too long after 5 o'clock. So basically it has worked out. This is, I want to say, our second week in doing it. It has worked out very well. I can make sure with my utility clerk, she's getting out of there. And you're probably saying, what are we doing? That wasn't done before. We are counting the till. Wasn't done before. That's all I can say, okay? We're doing that, in the morning times. We do our end of the day, the previous day, because when people pay things online or whatever like that, we can run that report and we can see what's going on. So we're doing a lot of check and balances right now. Also, we will be closed with training. I will put it out on our website, and the marquee training was one of the things that I looked at. We were gigged on with the investigation. Staff wasn't being trained. And again, like I stated, with this software, BSNA, cloud, it is, in my opinion, okay, my opinion, so for everybody else, it's not user-friendly. So when they have training, right now, the trainings that we're doing, we had one today, it is free, so it's no cost. So just to give you heads up, we're moving forward. Each day is forward. So far, I haven't had to take a step backwards. Again, as we stated with our auditing firm, we are really trying to push with getting this done in the end of September. Because I really don't want us losing any money, because that is what starts to happen. Okay. Outside of that, everybody probably see me running around, but I'm busy. Okay, and I just appreciate the encouraging words that I do get from several people. I appreciate it, really do. And again, like I say, this is home for me, and I'm out to do whatever I can for my home. This is my roots. So I'm dedicated to serving everybody in our town. Okay? So,
Sorry, man. So
I didn't say the word.
So I was able to look up the requirements for the minutes. So the statute just says that they just need to be properly recorded in your plain and ordinary sense. So meaning that you have, if it's a committee, probably you only meet monthly, then just by the next meeting, you just have to have the minutes ready to be approved by the committee. And they just need to be a brief summary or series of brief notes or a memorandum reflecting the events of the meeting. And then you just, if there's a vote, you just have to write down like who voted for what and how they passed it out. Very simple like that. I would just recommend that they always be typed up so they're legible, and then just filed here in your town hall so that we have records. Other than that, that's all the requirements.
Adjourned.